and welcome back to the Global Falcons podcast. I'm your host, Andrew L.G. Hunter, proud Métis citizen, CEO, and founder of Homes by Hunter Inc. and the Global Falcons podcast.
And I'm your other host, Angela Hunter, lawyer, entrepreneur, and extraordinary human being.
She most definitely is, and that's why I married her.
I'd just like to take a quick second before we begin to send our condolences to everyone in LA that's been affected by the fires. People have lost their personal belongings, their special mementos, and most importantly, their homes.
Yeah, this can be devastating for any family or community as a whole. And that brings us to one of the things we'd like to mention before we get started with the podcast, and that's what my first business is, Homes by Hunter Inc. Homes by Hunter Inc. is a rental properties, renovation, and home builds business. In the past, we've worked on over 200 homes within the Saskatoon, Saskatchewan region of Canada. We've brought in real value to communities by adding secondary suites into homes and selling them to people who needed that extra income from the rental suite to enter the housing market. This has been very important and really great for families. I've also written a book that allows people to truly understand where I've come from, the things I've done, and how they also can do these things to better communities around them. And I really love that. It's gotten a lot of traction, and a slight brag here, but it was a bestseller for 5 weeks in a row, which is huge. Mm-hmm. Right now, we're working on rental properties that are affordable and aesthetically pleasing. We do this through cultural aspects, such as artisan feature walls and eco-friendly smart homes. We are living in a time that's the future, and it's extremely important to have a smart aspect to a home that allows you to live a life of more leisure. Yeah, I think that's really good. Right now, I'm also working on a project, a competition really, that's for Entrepreneur of Impact. This is put on by Colossal, and Colossal has done a lot of great things in their past as well. I'm pretty sure they've made over 100 million and donated almost all of that back to the communities around them through things like this, the Entrepreneur of Impact, and another thing with Gen Youth. Gen Youth is a company that brings a lot of value to kids in schools by giving them the new nutrition and nourishment that they need to start their day. So you can look all those up. This is also put on with Damon John. And Damon John is, as you may know, a Shark Tank celebrity and a great entrepreneur all the way around. So I think I've really hit this well, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from and the things that I'd like to do for the future. It's very important, and the housing crisis that we live in right now needs more people like me and you. So with that, let's start the podcast off.
Let's do it. I'll do my topic first.
Okay.
I'm talking about how global cooperation has flatlined. So the global security crisis is the conflict and competition is sort of on the rise in between countries, and we've seen that definitely in Europe. There are wars going on. There's just like a lot of tension in global trade, and then now we're seeing that with the Canada-US border. Sort of, we're at this precarious time in our political landscape, not just in North America but globally, and this is it's really exacerbated by the climate crisis and global warming. And I'm not going to get into the science behind global warming because there's just so much information. Yeah. There's so many different opinions. I'm not saying that I think that global warming is a hoax.
But cycles are real.
Yeah, you could 2024 is the hottest year on record as of late, but it does go in cycles. And before an ice age, there has to be a global warming period, and that's what we're in. We're in a solar maximum, which is causing a global warming period. 100%, I think it's accelerated by the carbon footprint of human beings, because this is the only time in history that we've seen this type of technology, this type of use of fuels at this level with this just amount of population. So I definitely think that there's correlation between it, but I don't think that it's the entire reason. That's just my own opinion. So that sort of plays an impact on the economic growth between companies as well. There is projected to be 1.8% growth for 2025 in developed countries. And you might be thinking, what does this have to do with global cooperation? When things are tight, we don't share as often. You can see that in just personal finances. If things are tight in your home, you don't donate as much. You're not giving as much away. And that's the same thing with countries. It's really tight in your own country, and it's hard to support other countries when you're struggling to support your own citizens. And so that cooperation, we just see a bit of a decline in it. Now, we had mentioned the LA fires, and Canada, thank goodness, is sending help for that because the US was there when Jasper was on fire recently.
Yeah. And thank you again for that. All of those in the United States there. We appreciate your efforts here, and I hope we're doing the same for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important for countries to keep that up, even in tough times such as these. I feel like the world hasn't quite bounced back since 2020. It was just thrown for an entire new loop, and we're just in uncharted territory. So this can really be seen in the like I had mentioned, like the political landscape. There were 60 countries last year that voted in elections, and the incumbents were actually taken out. And so voters were voicing their unhappiness by selecting the opposing party to be new leaders. And that's just what happened in the US. The opposing party has come back in. We see something like that starting in Canada, where not so much that the opposing party is, well, they are ahead in the polls, but the current incumbent has stepped down, and we'll sort of discuss that later. So here are 4 strategies that communities and countries can employ to sort of combat this decline in cooperation. So the first one is new approaches to problem solving. So instead of just the old ways of doing things like starting discussions and seeing where they go, we need new problem solving skills. Like, I took this class, and it was just this whole other problem solving thing, and it was really cool.
I remember that. There was a book.
Yeah, and I'm just like drawing a blank on the name of it. So if I can remember it, I'll put it in the comments, and the title of the book.
Critical thinking.
It did, yeah. And it was a really great way of coming up with a broad range of ideas, even really, really bad ideas, because then you sort of just build off of it. And that's something that we do really well.
All the time. We love that. That's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, just plant this little seed of something, and even if that little seed is sort of ridiculous in some ways, not really going to work, but then you're like, well,
gets the gears turning, right?
Yeah. And so if you just employ things like that, I think out of the box thinking is just really what we need right now. Mm-hmm. And as well as planned opportunism. So read signs, read the markets, and see what opportunities might be coming up next, and then share that with someone and really, really branch out, which is the next one, redefine proximity. So right now, people in industries think, I'm in the natural resource sector, so I want to partner with other people in the resource sector.
Hold on here. Are you taking 2 topics at once?
No, this is one topic.
Oh, okay.
I listed the problems, and then these are the strategies to combat the problems.
Very good.
So the redefining proximity, like I was saying, if you're in the natural resource sector, you think, okay, I want to be partnered with other people in the natural resource sector that are doing different resources that we can sort of share refining plants and things like that. And then I want to work with construction and tech companies that are using this. But now you should also be looking into all the other sectors. Like maybe you're not thinking cars, but you have an essential piece that they're going to use down the road. So partner with them now and see what value they can bring to your company. Right. And completely out of left field, like the legal sector, which can help lots of businesses. So pull that in and just and just look for potential partners everywhere instead of your go-tos.
Yeah.
And then the last
You know what?
one,
I just want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
I think it's so important because up until now, everybody. Did you touch on this, or am I repeating what you said? I think up until now, everybody has been partnering with people that they partnered with in the past. Did you say this?
Well, sort of, but yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to build a new future, a better future, you need to start thinking with people. So, like, the most ridiculous things, like we said, with thinking, if you take something that is out of the box or out of your industry and bring it into yours, something new can happen. You know, and I think I just wanted to really double hit that and make sure that everybody understood what we're talking about here. Is you might be in an industry, but you need to step outside of that industry, find other industries to come into yours and branch off and make something new.
Yeah, because you can really find unexpected partnerships everywhere, like people that are into agriculture and horticulture and things like that, partnering with someone in the real estate business and bringing that horticulture into the home, like we've
That's
always
actually
thought
really
about.
interesting. Yeah. Don't give that away.
But just things like that, something that you wouldn't normally pair up in the past.
Yeah.
And then the final one is think big by starting small. So even the tiniest opportunity can grow into something bigger. So you make one connection, they can bring you one client, and this one client has a great idea and a friend that can help you explore that idea. So now you're meeting with 3 people, and then they're like, you know what, I know someone who can add to this, and it can just grow, and you can grow your network and your business at the same time as growing ideas and maybe even starting new industries, because we're in the age of AI and technology, and things are just happening so fast. And I think rapid growth is upon us. And I think a broad range of new industries are going to open up as we sort of make these partnerships.
You're touching on mine now.
Okay, sorry.
But out of every 5 people, you know, there's one person who knows the next 5 people. So keep that in mind, right? All you need is 5 to start with. You don't need to start like at that one person you desperately want to meet. No, just start with the 5 that you have close to you. Talk with them, see what 5 people they know, and so on and so forth.
I think we kind of touched, I had a question just to wrap it all up, but how can small businesses utilize these strategies? And I think our examples really hit home with that. Just make those connections, do that out of the box thinking, and just try to partner with not people just in your own geographical region, but far away from you, like distance proximity, industry proximity. Just branch out.
Yeah,
that's I think a huge takeaway. Branch out, try something new. Yeah, and these small businesses can make a big impact, so that when they're all working together and they're focusing more on globalization, that will force the countries to have to cooperate and focus more on that globalization and jump out of that decline and head back up in the right direction.
Powers in numbers. You got yours?
That was mine.
Okay, excellent. Mine is jobs of the future. And I love anything that has to do with the future. If you've watched our previous podcast, you know that to be true. So the jobs of the future, right now we're at a time when, like I mentioned before, we're at a time when a lot of people are retiring, okay? And new people are taking up positions, and there seems to be this problem period right now where, you know, the new people don't really know enough, and the old people weren't around long enough to teach the new people what they needed to know. Extremely, extremely important. If you can hear that outside, we live in Canada. There's a bunch of snow right now, and we have graders going across our streets.
It's very loud. It like shakes the house.
Yeah, it's very, very loud. But they're doing their job, and we're going to keep trying to do ours.
Yep.
So 92 million jobs are expected to disappear by 2030. Just gone.
That seems scary.
It does. But there's a silver lining here. With all the new tech, there's 170 million new jobs that will be created. within that same timeline. And that's incredible.
That makes me feel better.
It does. And like I said, that's thanks to new tech and the energy sector. So big right now. Energy, if you want to know more about energy, I'm not going to get into that too much now, but go back on our previous podcast. There's one or two there that speak very highly of energy.
Yeah.
And all the new energy ventures that are coming to fruition. And actually, one thing I didn't mention on there, but I just seen these small nuclear reactors in an egg shape, which is so cool. And they're small enough that they can go into any home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. This literally just hit the market. Well, the prototype has hit the market and, on stages for speeches. I don't remember the company name, and we'll probably hit that up maybe next week. But
that's super cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I actually, a little off topic here, but I actually came up with my own design for a wind turbine that was almost in the shape of an egg too. So it's funny that this one is, but this would have just been on the top of your house. This is similar to the designs that they've had in the past, like long ago, that you would see on like cathedrals and buildings with arches and stuff like that. So my idea came from that idea, but it just spins just with the wind. But now it's going to be useless because there's nuclear power and there's not always wind. So this is amazing, right? Like I said, we'll hit up that another day. So from 92 million lost to 170 million gained, that's a 7% net increase of today's workforce. So, yeah, we're going to lose a lot of jobs, but we're actually gaining, and we're gaining an uptick of 7%, which is massive. The latest Future of Jobs reports indicates sectors helping to grow infrastructure. That's energy, that's homes, that's really anything that isn't consumerism stuff.
Like highways. Come on, highways.
yeah, no doubt. Especially in Canada. We have potholes all over the place, and somebody really needs to step up there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm sure we've mentioned that before, too.
Well, it's so annoying.
It is.
And like, I had an accident a while ago, and trying to heal from that and driving down my street, almost impossible. It set me back so many times. Set me back. It's ridiculous. A little off topic there, and I apologize. The sectors helping to grow the infrastructure of the future will see the fastest growth. So if you're a business out there and you're not really sure how to navigate the future, look at these things. How can you help people in a better way and communities as a whole? If you can do that, you're going to start seeing more growth come to you. The laws of attraction right there. And there's so many programs out right now to incentivize these businesses to do so that you're going to see a lot of growth. And that's really good for employees. That's good for your own family. And that's good for the community, baby. So this job report was based on 1.2 billion people and employees.
Wow.
Yeah, very crazy. Meaning if you grow in news, you will be rewarded. What? Oh, I see what it is there. If you grow in new ways, you'll be rewarded. Some of these sectors are big data analysts, which I wouldn't have suspected that. I thought maybe that's more of an AI thing now, but AI could be. Let us know what you think, because AI is one of the sectors that you'll be rewarded in as well. Machine learning specialists and environmental engineers. Environmental engineers make sense to me. The machine learning specialists also make sense to me. Analysts, not so much.
Unless you build the program that analyzes things.
Okay,
That
is a thing that is happening too. I remember us doing a little research on that. So the majority of the new jobs will be the ones that follow the backbone of economies. And I mentioned that, like homes, roads, infrastructure.
Agriculture.
Agriculture is huge, and agriculture has over 1 billion people working in it already, and that makes sense, you know? So, but what's a little scary is out of every 8 people, 1 of them needs to be working in agriculture. So I don't know how many people you guys know, but how many of those people you know work in agriculture? And if they don't, maybe you could be that one. Make that difference.
Yeah, we need more unprocessed foods.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes, please. I lost my spot here. It is said that some of these new jobs will be farm workers, like we just said, truck drivers, which I didn't expect, and nursing professionals. We're always going to need nursing professionals, especially with that aging population. You know, they're retired. They need somebody to look after them, and not all of them have kids or family members. Yeah. So that's really important.
The trucking one also surprised me because they're coming out with vehicles that drive themselves and things like that.
Yeah, well, Tesla is for sure, and I know Volvo did years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that commercial, Jean.
Yeah, oh my god, and he like did the splits with the 2 semis like moving. That was pretty epic.
That was very epic. Way to go, Volvo. What a commercial.
Yeah, probably their best one.
Yeah.
Most epic of splits. That was really good. All that being said, this transition will not be easy for governments, businesses, and educators. So I think we all need to work together to build that future and a brighter future for our kids, right? If we're not putting in the work now, how is that going to work for our children? You know, I look at a future for me and my kids that is tech savvy and that is eco-friendly and community-based. And I think those are the things you need to be focused on as well. That was the one I had. That's jobs of the future. Let us know what you think about those in the comments, or reach out to us on our social media platforms. Yeah. And we'll give you those plugs in a second here, or in a little bit.
Now we're going to talk about some current events. So I had mentioned earlier about the sort of political landscape changing, especially, well, globally, but in Canada too. Our Prime Minister has resigned and prorogued Parliament until March.
Say that again. Pro what?
Prorogued, like it put Parliament in prorogation. So that just means it's suspended Parliament. So they're not doing anything new. They're not changing anything. Sort of the meetings have been paused essentially until they can pick a new leader, and then he's still acting as Prime Minister until that new leader is chosen, and then that's when they'll start up Parliament again.
This is crazy. A lot of rumble in Canada here. So I'm curious to know if you're in the States. Let us know. How have you heard of this?
Yeah, has it affected you?
Yeah, or have you just heard about Trump taking us over as the 51st state? Which would be, I think that would make some interesting things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on one thing, and then I did have a question. So, putting in a new party leader sort of near the end of the term has been done. Yep, has been done in the past. And it typically doesn't end well for the person that steps in. They don't typically get office in the next election. I think the reason is just the whole reason for stepping down from Trudeau was the public clearly wanted it, and government had sort of lost confidence in his leadership. And to be fair, he had been leader for a long time, and so, you know, things change and people need different things. But in the past, historically, the new person stepping in doesn't actually win the election. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And that's probably the reason why a lot of people within the Liberal Party aren't jumping to be the next leader.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who would want to take over when there's a bunch of problems,
Yeah.
right?
And your party isn't well liked at the moment.
Yeah.
So then my question was, as you had mentioned, Trump wanting to add Canada as the 51st state, which would be called annexation. What do you think the pros and cons of annexing to the states would be?
Okay, I think there's a lot of pros, and I think a lot of people are going to see more of the cons. And that's understandable. We are a sovereign country that is, you know, built ourselves up from running away from the states. So it's kind of goes against everything we've stood for all these years. But I guess playing devil's advocate here, I think the pros are that a lot of things would probably get cheaper here for us.
Yeah.
We import a lot of stuff from there. I know on the news they talk a lot about the things that get exported to there, but our imports from there are pretty large, and which is crazy because we have such like we have 3 areas of coast guard or coastland that could bring in new things. So I guess that would be a con for joining them. We don't need them. We could just outsource from otherwheres. But the pro is that we could just cross the border like we were going from Saskatchewan to say Alberta. So those are the ones that I could see being the pros. I don't know how it would work with. Do we have our own prime minister here? Like, or is that just like a larger mayor, or is it just no? Each person, would we even have?
Yeah, I feel like each
province
would have to just become a state and sort of be run that way.
Yeah.
Unless they wanted to break it up even smaller.
So would we be the 50? No, 60.
Yeah.
We have 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'd be 62 states if it all broke out like that.
Crazy. I know Kevin O'Leary talks a lot about this and how, this is something that's happened in the European or the European states before, and that could happen here and it wouldn't be an issue. But I think he just likes to cause a little bit of drama when he can, and that's fine. It stirs the pots, makes people think, hey, like what would happen? Gets the ball rolling in a new direction, if anything.
Yeah, I think a big pro for me would be like what you're saying, the ease of travel and the sort of the border disappearing, and it would open up a lot more places for Canadians to go because we don't really have like a hot place like Hawaii. We do have a lot of nice, beautiful places, but there's just not a lot of hot places in the winter. So
I would love that.
Yeah, I think a lot of Canadians would like that because they do already. I think a con though is definitely the legal system and the tax structure and just how to bring that all in because they have their constitution and we have a living tree constitution in that it changes with the times and theirs is a little bit more set. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I know that ours is like a living document and so it can be interpreted based on the changing times and the different like Supreme Court decisions can sort of impact it without actually having to change the written word. We would just interpret it as the new interpretations roll in. So I'm not sure if the states is exactly the same. So I think it would take a long time to sort of hammer out those fine details that really make a country run smoothly because you just can't have 2 opposing things happening. We would have to adopt one or the other or take years and years to comb through and find a happy medium. So yeah, I think that's the biggest con. I just think it would be time consuming to sort of define those things unless they just met and came up like snap decisions. We're doing it this way because it works better. Boom.
That's a dictatorship.
If you have enough votes.
Boom.
No, we're doing this because it works better, and then you vote on it. And if you have more votes, I mean, that's majority government.
Yeah, I guess with thinking of it that way, but that takes a while to get those votes, right?
Yeah, so it'd still take a long time. But also another pro is it would be the largest country by landmass because right now Canada's number 2.
That's cool. Yeah.
You gotta assume that we would have a lot more resources too.
Right. I guess that would be a con. I'm thinking, the other side of things. Our beautiful lands would be probably pillaged to no end. We have a lot of rare minerals on our lands, and I'm not sure how that would affect the indigenous people. Like I'm Métis, and we have our own land rights too, and there's the First Nations and so many other people. There's like these territorial things that would matter, and if Trump took over, would they matter anymore? Because that's a scary thought. Indigenous people protect the lands that we have, and that's really, really important. I know Trudeau did one terrible thing. He sold a lot of our water rights to Nestle, which is insane.
Yeah.
And then for a little while there was reports of like water shortages. What kind of reports would we get after becoming the 51st state? How many reports would we get about our land becoming quarries? And that's not great. So I don't know. There's a lot of a lot to think about. A lot of pros, definitely some terrible cons. But
in all honesty, I don't think it would really happen. For as much as his joking, we've been so.
There's no way.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know, but in my opinion, I wouldn't think so.
SNL did this hilarious take on Trump with this risk board. I sent that to you. You'll have to check that out later. If you guys want to look that up, it's Risk by Trump. SNL. Hilarious. And by the way, I like Trump.
I do too.
I love that he's a businessman and he's actually making action towards, the problems that they're facing. And, I think that brings me to the next topic. You're done yours?
Yep.
Nice. Here's the next current topic. The Palisades fires in California, LA.
Yeah.
It's we started off this by saying it's just awful and our hearts go out. But this little report here comes from SRETA, Saskatoon SRETA. They do a lot of community work that helps people, and they just do great for people and entrepreneurs too. So if you're in the business world, reach out to them. They have a lot of contacts that can help you raise your business up. So we'll dive into that. It said that $285 billion in damage is so far with houses reduced to rubble and ash. That's a considerable amount of money.
That is insurance companies going out of business type money.
Yeah. And what happens in those situations is insurance companies get bought by other insurance companies. So eventually, this is all going to trickle down to one insurance company either being able to pay this or getting a bailout of some sort. And then that insurance company is going to be king or dead.
Yeah.
So then what happens next? Who's paying for what? There is going to be a bailout, though, 100%. That's where I see this going.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that could happen with that kind of money, and then how does that even get paid back? I realize that the states are large and they have a bunch of people, but these are things that, you got to keep in mind, like the dollar to risk ratio is like, it's just vast at this point. It's over $250 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot, and I can see why. These homes were priceless in ways, and the things that were inside of them were even more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of these were actors' homes, and I've seen Mel Gibson's home was completely torn down or burned down. Like, also on a side note, I love that guy. He's had a lot of ups and downs, but his career as a whole, it's very admirable. So families have been completely uprooted now, with no actual idea of where they're going to sleep, where are they going to live? There is a thing that FEMA has, and you can reach out to FEMA. They have things set up that can help businesses and families. So I'm not from there, but this is what I've heard. So if I'm wrong, put it in the comments. But I'm pretty sure FEMA, they have an outreach program. So check them out.
That's good.
It's been reported that the Palisades Reservoir has been empty since February of last year.
Mm-hmm.
This is one, and this is what brought me into this. I'm like, they're seeing a bunch of their own problems that could have been stopped, right? How do you not foresee that your reservoir is empty and that no fire hydrant actually has water access?
Well, they've been experiencing drought, and I think that goes back to sort of the climate change that we briefly touched on. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's kind of scary because you see it's a problem, but I mean, what do you do? Just
Well,
hope that
yeah.
it refills before something like this happens?
Well, from my understanding, Lake Mead was like drastically lowered.
Mhm.
What was that? 2022, maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and man, watching some of those videos, there's actually an indigenous family that did some amazing videos out there. They have a fishing company, and I'm terrible at remembering that, but I can't remember what it goes by. I'm not even gonna try, but they have a YouTube channel. You should check it out. You just type in Lake Mead Fishing Company, and I'm sure it'll come up.
Mm-hmm.
They do amazing work there, just tourism stuff, and their own little podcast. And then they were looking at Lake Mead as it lowered, right? So they were doing updates the whole time, and the things they found there were absolutely stunning to see. Actually, there was a couple crazy things though. There was a few bodies in like barrels from like the beginning of Las Vegas times.
Yeah, mob stuff.
Yeah. So that kind of sent some chills down some spines, But afterwards, I think it was 2023, there was a considerable amount of water put back into there. Where that water came from, I don't know, but I have a sneaky suspicion that maybe it came from the reservoir that was emptied. I don't know. This is like, I'm just throwing, wild ideas out there. I have no idea. So don't take my word on that. But it's empty, and that's a problem. And why wasn't anyone aware of it? Especially the firefighters that went there and risked their own lives to put this out and to spend the time to, try to hook up to these things when there was no water there at all, So not only are the families who were evacuated and the homes that were burned down, but these leaders at the time could have also risked the people that take care of everybody. And that's not great to see. Something should have been done.
Yeah.
And, okay, yeah. One other thing too. We'll actually have oh no. I had a few things here and now they're gone.
Remember them?
No.
Oh. Well, what's the one thing you have there?
Hold on here. Ah, that is so awful. Oh my God. Okay, well, I do remember a little bit about it, but I'll get through this part and then I'll try to fumble through the next part, I guess. There's talks of martial law and a plan to rebuild the Palisades. Palisades?
I think so.
This might be something that comes with other issues, I think, like martial law taking power away from the people at any sign of issues. Like that's crazy, right? So like implementing it now probably gives more authority to implement it at any other time. A little spooky there. And I think this should be, clearly there's some people that couldn't properly evaluate the situation. So now I think it should be left up to the people and the people's businesses to step in and try to rebuild and, try to make a life around that area again, right? It shouldn't be that difficult to figure out. We're talking infrastructure, clearly new infrastructure, and we're talking home building. This is something that Even I do, right? So unfortunately, the things that I did have written down were from Srita. And you know what? I can pull them up on my laptop here.
And just so everyone knows, SRETA is the
Saskatoon
Regional Economic Development Association. That's what it stands for.
Yeah.
In case you were trying to look them up or
talk about that a little more. I was just involved with them. While I'm looking this up, why don't you tell them a little bit about what I was doing with them?
They held a competition for Indigenous entrepreneurs. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. I was there that evening.
The SOAR competition.
The SOAR competition, yeah. And they chose some finalists. You do some workshops, and then you pitch your business to a panel of judges, and they were judges that were in the business realm, part of SRETA, part of the community, and actually a past winner too. So that was really cool. And everyone, pitched their business, and then the judges decided on who just had a good pitch. They were all amazing. It was a really fun night, and I think that's really important. It really showcases things. It gets businesses out of their comfort zone. And then having the workshop component in there helps businesses along the way, whether you came in first or didn't. Like, you still got a lot of value out of the program, made a lot of good connections. So I think programs like that in the community are really great. Same with the Entrepreneur of Impact. That's more of a national and global. It helps people compete. It showcases them. It gets them to talk about their business, gets them to post more on social media, and really get the word out there about themselves. So I think competitions like this are great, not only for the people that win and get that prize, but also everyone that gets to participate, because you definitely get value either way.
Very good. And that brought me right to my email. So congratulations. Or did it? What's happening here? Oh, that's sent. That's why. Apologies, everyone. I'm not sure why my phone decided, hey, today we're not gonna remember what we were just doing. Very strange. But I am just about there. And here I am.
Nice.
Very good. So this will be word for word almost, instead of my usual breakdown, because I'm not redoing that again. So so our part in Canada is very interesting. So right now there is talks between the SPSA. They've received requests for assistance from the CIFC. Wow. This was made in a statement by Wilkinson. Wilkinson runs the SPSA and is reviewing the request. The SPCA provides support to other jurisdictions when a request is made through one of the agency's established mutual agreements of partnerships, which they have with the CIFC. Emergency Preparedness Minister Harjit. Wow. Sajan. I apologize if we messed up your name. Forgive us. Said on Monday that dozens of firefighters from Alberta and British Columbia will help fight the wildfires in California. And the federal government is coordinating, thank you, efforts with the provinces to deploy resources. This is so very important that Canada shows our preparedness and readiness to help our brother and sister over to the south. Very important. Sajan says the social media post that 60 firefighters from the two provinces will be deployed as soon as Monday. So that's very exciting. And I'm not sure 1 second. When was this published? So that's the Monday coming up here.
Oh my goodness.
That's
terrifying
kind of
that the fires are going to last that long.
It is. That's extremely long.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be smoldering ash by then, I would think. But
I mean, I guess they'd still need to help with cleanup and things like that.
Yeah.
And search and rescue.
Search and rescue is huge. There's still over 40 people that they don't know where they are. So, very terrifying. Alberta announced last week that it's sending up 40 wildland firefighters with more personnel, water boomers. And water boomers are so important because we don't have to wait till Monday for that. Fire them up there now.
Good.
Right. Lost my spot there. Water boomers and contracted night vision helicopters ready to deploy. So, like I said, ready to go right now. BC's forest minister, meanwhile, has said a crew from the province's wildfire services left for California on Saturday, and that's really good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday afternoon to help battle the wildfires ranging from ravaging the Los Angeles area. We also have people from Quebec doing what they can do. 2 more firefighters or firefighting aircraft have been sent from Quebec to California. One day after the province's water boomers collided with a drone while battling the wildfires. That's not cool. So if you're in the States, try to keep, I know you want pictures, you want these things, but if there's water boomers going around, it's best maybe just to keep the airs clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, citizens should try not to interfere with those at work.
Yeah, there's people, there's professional people. Let's let them do their professional jobs, right? If you want to help people get their things, their belongings, and get out of there. If their home is on fire, do not go in. It's not worth a photo album or something like that. Most of these things can be replaced, and if not, you still have the memories. You don't really need to risk your life to even try to, if a home is up in flames, don't even try to risk your own life. Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You could just be putting 2 lives at danger that now one firefighter has to try to save 2 lives, which makes an endangerment for 3 lives. And that's not cool.
Yeah.
The fires have killed at least 24 people. Like I think I said that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. And over 12,000 structures reduced to rubble and ash. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's very sad because a lot of that is homes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we've had fires here in Canada, and the states have come and they've aided us, but we've never lost structures to this caliber before.
No, I think Jasper last year was probably the worst of it, and I think that was, a lot of structures and homes, but it was a lot of historical sites.
L'Orange fires too were pretty severe, but again, that's a remote area, and there's not that many. Like, there's structures. Don't get me wrong, but not to this caliber.
No.
The blaze okay. We need to wrap this up, unfortunately. But, this actual news article can be found on 650 CKOM. And this today was brought to you by Sarita SOAR, or Sarita, Saskatoon Regional Economic Development in Saskatoon. So we appreciate them, and we appreciate all of you for listening.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, leave a comment, some feedback. We love feedback. We've been getting lots of comments.
I'm sure the feedback. Why don't you get your notes in order?
Duly noted.
My mistake.
But we really do appreciate you taking the time to listen. We hope that you like the change up of the format where we do a little bit of stories of the week, a little bit of current news, and just trying to keep that focus. Yes, we're in Canada. yes, we're in North America. Hopefully we pull in enough global stuff for anyone that's listening overseas, because we appreciate you guys as well.
Yeah, we have some people from Tanzania who've actually reached out to me from our Tanzania report, and that was really cool. I really like to see that. So we'll try to, like you said, we'll try to hit up every country as the news comes in. And if you have any news you'd like to share with us, feel free to email us at Global Falcons Podcast Canada at gmail.com. And we'll be happy to take a look at that and report on it as they come. So we appreciate you. You can find me on all platforms as Andrew LG Hunter.
And you can find me on all platforms as Angela Hunter, except if you are on X, I am YXE Crypto Hunter. We'll talk a lot more about crypto another day.
Yeah, I love that stuff. We could really go in a long depth conversation on that. So with that, this has been the Global Falcons Podcast, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.